everyone. Welcome back to the Breakdown Besties podcast. I'm Ananya,
I'm Akshay.
and we are your Breakdown Besties. Together, we have 14 years of experience writing for platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, on shows like Mismatch, Wedding.com, Rana Naidu, Inside Edge, Shark Tank, Grahan, and a bunch of others that got stuck in development hell but will hopefully see the light of day one day. Now, with the Breakdown Besties podcast, our goal is to bring to you a film school experience. The kind where you go into a classroom, you examine a scene, you break down what works, what doesn't, how can you improve it, and how can you emulate these techniques in your writing. We do them with iconic Bollywood films so that you can create your own Bollywood films. And today, the film that we are going to be breaking down is just something I loved watching. It's something I
Yeah,
enjoyed
man.
so much, right? It just
Yeah.
felt like good old days of cinema. Like cinema was actually good. It all didn't look the same.
Like it was soulful.
Soulful, yeah, yeah. Every
Yeah.
moment was carefully crafted. It was thoughtful.
Yeah.
Like people cared about the script. They didn't. It wasn't treated like how it wasn't treated as content. Like
Yeah.
which is what we call it now, which is implies this churn to it ki banta rahe. This was like
Yeah.
we are creating this one project and we are going to make every moment count, and they
Yeah.
goddamn did. And obviously you all know the film we're talking about because it's in the title and you clicked it. It is Lootera, written by Bhavani Iyer and Vikramaditya Motwane, and dialogues by Anurag Kashyap. And just phenomenal. Cool. So let's begin how we always begin, by getting right into the logline. So, what is the logline? The logline is your film's premise written in a few lines, ideally less than 40 to 50 words, and it's your guiding light. It helps you to see the forest for the trees when you're so lost in writing your screenplay in your film that you kind of forget what the film is all about. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to create? And why does the logline work so well at doing this? Because it contains four important elements. And they are: one, you have the flaw or the block or the limitation or the wound. It is something within the character that is holding them back from achieving the second element, their goal. The goal is the prize at the end of the film. It's why our character goes on a journey, and it's the reason we follow them. We want to see them on a journey to achieving their goal. And then you have the conflict. The conflict is literally your story engine. Without conflict, you have no story. And this conflict is born out of something external, challenging what's holding the character back internally. The conflict challenges their flaw, they come into a battle with each other, and that helps the character overcome their flaw and move forward towards their goal. And your last element is your stakes. Your stakes are what your character stands to lose. It's not simply achieving the goal, but it is moving one level lower than the goal should it not be achieved. Right?
Hmm.
Cool.
This is what I have for the logline of Lootera. A zamindar's daughter wants to develop a romantic relationship with a visiting archaeologist, unaware that he's hiding a secret that could completely upturn her life.
Yeah.
So first we have the flaw, the limitation, the wound. Now, in this, I think the flaw is that this is a zamindar's daughter. Had she not been this rich, this problem in her life wouldn't have come, what she's about to face in the movie.
Yeah.
The goal is that she wants to develop a romantic relationship with a visiting archaeologist. So that's clearly a goal. She chases him throughout the movie. She's the one who takes efforts. She's the one who makes the first move. So she's actively going to her goal. Number three, the conflict is that the visiting archaeologist, that she's unaware that the visiting archaeologist is hiding a secret.
Hmm.
Uh, okay. Now the stake is that he could completely upturn her life, which
Yeah.
also ends up happening in the movie. Uh,
Yeah.
so this is what I have for the logline.
Yeah, I think it works really well. I
Hmm.
would add naive before Zamindar's
Hmm.
daughter.
Yeah.
because that is Sonakshi Sinha's most defining characteristic, and that is
Yeah.
what is being challenged because
Hmm.
she's naive. And then, just to make it stronger, instead of upturn her life, I would say destroy her life,
Yeah.
because
Destroy her life. Yeah.
destroy her life. But that's just syntax. It's just wording. But
Yeah.
if I were doing a draft two of this log line, that's what I would do to it.
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
also helps you when you're writing the scenes. Upturn
Yeah.
versus destroy will give you a different way, lens of looking at
Way.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it really works. Nice.
What were you struggling with?
I was struggling, I think, with the fact that Sonakshi Sinha, in my lens, now that you framed it the way you have, like, wants to develop a romantic relationship. And
Hmm.
I also think I haven't worked in those many romances. And in general, I don't put pedestalized romance in my
Yeah,
life.
I listen,
So,
that also took me the longest time. Like, first I had
right?
written she falls in love, but I was like, I
Hmm.
made it key she wants to develop
Mm,
this thing.
yeah, she very
So
actively pursues it.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But because of my way of, I think, looking at the world more than anything
Hmm.
else, I was just
Hmm.
like, ye kuch kar nahi rahi hai isme. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see pursuing someone romantically as
Yeah.
a worthy goal, I guess. Because
Yeah.
even when we're looking at rom-coms, for example,
Yeah.
the relationship happens because of another vehicle. Like
Yeah.
they're either at an office and they have an office goal which gets them
Yeah.
together and stuff.
Yeah.
But here, it's not the fact that Ranveer Singh's character is a thief that gets them together. It's not like
Yeah.
thieving is the main line of the film. But
Yeah.
I failed to look at it like that.
Hmm.
So I ended up writing, which
Hmm.
is kind of the logline of the second half of the film, where I say,
Hmm.
when a robber falls in love with a terminally ill woman who he robbed, he must win her back lest she lose her life.
Hmm. Yeah. This also works, but you give away the twist of the movie in this.
What is the twist? That he robs her or that she loses her life?
Yeah, that
But
he robs her.
that fairly early on, right? In the film that he's gonna rob
Really?
her.
Really? Oh,
And the
shut
name of the
up.
film is Lootera.
I am naive. I am Sonakshi Sinha's character. I am naive. Uh, I thought Lutera is just like इसका दिल
Dil
लूट
loot
लिया.
liya.
I never thought he was a literal Lutera.
Yeah, but your logline 100%. Ignore what I said. If you want a logline for the second half of the film, now you have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Let's go into the hero's journey next, right?
Let's do it.
So, what is your hero's journey? Your hero's journey is the structural spine of your film. It gives you the beats that your hero must pass through and encounter every so often within the film that moves the story forward and delivers an emotional hit to your audience every so often. Because sometimes your plot might not be working the way you want it to, or you might be floundering with structure. That's the time you kind of fall back on your hero's journey to see at what points do certain things need to be happening so that your audience is also coming on the same journey as your hero is going on, right? Cool.
Hmm.
So now let's see if we align on this. I think we largely should,
I think so too. Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the ordinary world is we see Sonakshi Sinha, we see that she's got tuberculosis, she's a zamindar's daughter, that this is just post-independence and zamindari is going to be abolished soon. And then we have Ranveer Singh's character enter the picture as an archaeologist who wants to excavate the site that is on their zameen and wants their permission. And Sonakshi Sinha sees Ranveer. It is infatuation at first sight. She wants to become close to him. She wants to fall in love with him. And then we go to our call to action, where she sees Ranveer Singh painting out of her window of with in front
Hmm.
of a canvas outside her
Hmm.
window. So she goes to her father and says that I want to learn how to paint.
Hmm.
Right? This is her being called or her calling herself into a new world so that she can
Hmm.
pursue her goal. Right?
Hmm.
And then,
I had another call to action actually.
okay.
Uh, I thought it was a little before that when uh that's that moment where both of them are in the field, like she's with her friend and he's with his friend, and
Hmm.
they're looking at each other, and the friend is like, "Hey, what are you doing? Are you like trying to fall? Like, are you crushing on this person?" And so I
Hmm.
thought that was an immediate call where like it's the truth, what is happening, and they immediately
Correct.
refuse it. That like, no,
Hmm.
no, nothing is going on, you know. So that was, but again, I was confused with this moment also.
Both.
What you're saying,
Yeah,
it was both, yeah.
both.
But I placed this earlier, and I'll tell you why. What the moment you're saying comes later for me.
No, but it makes sense. It's a sequence of calls, like we've discussed in various
Huh?
films, like Pa and English
Yeah,
Winglish, where the
yeah,
first call comes from her friend saying that, hey, you're kind of in love. And then they're like, no, she refuses the
yeah,
call. Then she
yeah,
acts on the call again.
yeah.
And says that, okay, I
Refused.
want to learn how
Huh?
to paint. Yeah. And then her dad kind of refuses it, where he's just like,
Yeah,
Harry, learn it from this person, learn it from that person. She's like, no, no,
yeah.
I want to learn it from Ranveer Singh's
This
character.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah. Right.
yeah,
So, in your version, then the mentor would be the friend, right? Meeting the
yeah,
mentor.
yeah. I thought, and that painting moment becomes the mentor because that's the something
Mm.
which she
Hmm.
clocks it as a device to like
Yeah,
cross the threshold with for in her goal.
goal. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Because the mentor, yeah, because there is really no mentor in this. Because I've been reading this book
yeah,
here. It's not just a prop.
yeah,
Joseph Campbell. And because here's a bookmark and everything. But
yeah.
this So I was reading about the role of the mentor. And the mentor is
Hmm.
essentially if you're going to slay the dragon, the mentor
Hmm.
is the person who hands you the sword.
The sword. Huh.
Yeah. So who is giving her the sword in this moment? It is the painting, right?
Yeah, like she gets an idea that, oh, maybe I can use this as the reason to get close to him. Otherwise, I will never be able to.
Yeah.
So that was the
Exactly.
moment, like, I thought that could be the mentor in this story arc.
Story. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Cool. And then we have crossing the threshold, which is the scene where they have their first painting class together.
Yeah.
And this is when crossing the threshold is when your character enters the new world and they take the
Hmm.
first decisive step from which they can't
Hmm.
return. It's the point of no
Hmm.
return. And they have decided to pursue their goal fully and completely. So, as
Yeah.
Sinha tells Ranveer Singh that you're going to teach me how to paint, he's like, cool. Turns out he doesn't know how to paint. She's, in fact, the better painter. And
Yeah.
she's teaching him how to paint. And she's like, cool, that.
Yeah.
Then we have tests, allies, and enemies, which is where your main character gets a sense of the lay of the land. Who are
Hmm.
their friends in this new world? Who are their allies? Who's gonna present obstacles and challenges? Those are their enemies. And this is, I think, I believe, a fairly long sequence, in
Very
my
long.
opinion. Very
Yeah.
long, right? Okay. I was just sussing. I'm like, are we on the same page?
Oh.
And so in this, we first see them getting close,
Hmm.
but then she's almost going to kiss him, but Ranveer Singh pulls
Hmm.
away. Then he finds out that she has tuberculosis. He helps her back to her house, and he falls in love with her. Then he decides that, but then Vikrant Masi, who's essentially his what do you call sidekick in this film,
Huh.
kind of says that, buddy, you don't have the permission to fall in love and you're going to
Hmm.
break her heart because you're going to be leaving
Hmm.
her soon. So then their relationship takes a turn for the worse when he essentially decides to not continue their painting sessions together. And he decides that he's going to be leaving in the next couple of days. And Sonakshi Sinha loses it. She goes to his bedroom at night and tells him, don't leave. And they kiss. And that kiss is the approach to the innermost cave.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting.
Well, I'm looking at it from the point of view of a relationship, right?
Even the first draft of the journey that I was charting out, I was exactly till here. But
Hmm.
because the second half of the film takes a completely different turn, you know? So
Hmm.
I, in fact, felt that this test allies and enemies continues till the moment where he offers to help her father that, I know this guy who can sell this, who can buy all of this material. And the father does it, and he proposes marriage. And ultimately, we come to know that he is a robber of sorts. And the next phase after this will take you to will initiate your approach to the inmost cave, because I felt for that starts a completely new life for Paki's character, so Sonakshi Sinha's character.
No, I would completely disagree with you, in fact,
Okay. Okay.
because of your logline. Your
Huh.
logline is from Paki's point of view. She wants to develop a romantic relationship. So, for
Hmm.
her, developing a romantic relationship, your approach to the innermost cave is
Hmm.
when you are stealing the bag of gold from under the dragon. Over
Right.
here, the relationship equivalent of that is the kiss and the marriage. So, that has to be your
Hmm.
approach to the innermost cave based on your logline, on the very logline
Hmm.
you've written.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Right?
Yeah, fair
So,
enough.
yeah. So that is your approach to the innermost cave. They kiss. He says that he tells her father that I want to marry your daughter. But then the ordeal begins, where
Hmm.
we see this from Ranveer Singh's character's perspective, where his boss comes into the picture and says that
Hmm.
you cannot get married because
Hmm.
you're a thief, and if you get married to her,
Hmm.
I will reveal your truth that you're a thief
Hmm.
to her. And then you think, would she want to marry you? So
Hmm.
Ranveer Singh wants to quit the robbery, but he cannot, because even if he does, she will know his truth. And that sets your
Hmm.
ordeal into play, where he starts
Hmm.
robbing them. And your ordeal, in my opinion, is a very long section, because
Okay.
your
Okay.
ordeal is the consequences of
Hmm.
having robbed the gold from the dragon,
Hmm.
having
Hmm.
stolen it.
Yeah.
So the consequences of falling in love and leaving her
Hmm. Hmm.
are what? That now Sonakshi Sinha's father has died because they realized
Hmm.
that they were being scammed this whole time, and all their
Right.
property has been taken away.
Taken away.
Then you have Sonakshi Sinha living by herself in their
Hmm.
Dalhousie house. And then you have the police coming, speaking to her, saying, look, Ranveer Singh and his gang, they are masters at this scam that they've pulled off. And
Hmm.
you're not the only family. So if you have any information, give it to us.
Hmm.
Then she gives them information. Then we see that Ranveer Singh's character has come to Dalhousie for their next robbery.
Hmm.
Then you have the police chasing them, the big
Hmm.
scuffle with the police, action sequence, all of that. In the meantime, you
Hmm.
see Sonakshi Sinha's character giving up on life, because that is her ordeal. She can't write. She's suffering. She just wants to give up.
Hmm.
And then Ranveer Singh, in the final shootout with the police, shoots
Hmm.
his friend, shoots Vikrant Masi's character inadvertently. So
Hmm.
then he goes to Sonakshi Sinha to confront her that,
Hmm.
look, because of you reporting me to the police, I killed my friend. And he sees that Sonakshi is having a coughing fit and she's not willing to take her medicine. She's not willing to inject herself. So he
Hmm.
takes the injection
Hmm.
and he saves her life. And saving her life is the reward. That you have the way back, where
Hmm.
Ranveer Singh is hiding from the police and in Sonakshi Sinha's house. And he is also taking care of her. Sonakshi is damn angry with him. Even as he takes care of her, they're not talking to each other.
Hmm.
At one point, he decides to leave the house, and but he comes back because he realizes that he loves her and she needs him. So he comes
Hmm.
back, but she tells him that whatever you're doing for me is not enough. Sometimes I just want to murder you, but I'm not murdering you because I don't have the energy to murder you. I am dying. And the moment the last leaf falls from that tree, I am going to die. And but Ranveer Singh selflessly keeps serving her, and that at one
Hmm.
point wins her over. And
Hmm.
just as she goes out one morning into the snow to see him chopping logs of wood to keep her warm, the police comes, because the police at
Hmm.
this point has realized that she is giving shelter to Ranveer Singh's character. She tells the police that you don't have a warrant to search my house, so fuck off. The police
Hmm.
says that tomorrow I'm gonna come with a warrant, and then I'm gonna find him and I'm gonna kill him, and
Hmm.
all my men will be waiting for him, so don't even try to run away.
Hmm.
And then and that is your resurrection, where Sonakshi Sinha
Hmm.
protects him. So
Hmm.
resurrection is where your character is at your lowest and now they are rising from that. So from saying that I want to kill you, she says she saves him from
Hmm.
being shot, at least for a day.
Hmm.
And in this resurrection, she speaks to Ranveer and he finally admits that, look, I love you, I've always loved you. And the two of them finally like come together.
Hmm.
And then you have the last bit of your film, which is where we know that Ranveer Singh is going to get caught. It is inevitable. So before he goes and submits to his circumstances, to his fate, he climbs up a tree which has now lost the last leaf, carrying a painted leaf with him, and he ties it to the
Hmm.
tree. And you see that not only has he tied it today, he has been tying it from the leftover string
Hmm.
of the previous days for a very long time to keep her alive another day. And then
Hmm.
he goes, he lets the police find him. He purposely leaves the house because he doesn't want Sonakshi, I think, to witness his death,
Hmm.
and submits to his fate. He is killed. And Sonakshi Sinha wakes up that morning. She goes out of bed and she sees the leaf and she realizes it's a painting and that
Hmm.
he had been doing all of this just for her. And
Hmm.
that is the return with the elixir. She
Hmm.
has come into living another day into this old world, but as a new person.
Yeah, I think I like from the resurrection till Elixir, I completely agree with you. I had a few smaller moments which I thought made sense to me more, which is like I was telling you earlier that uh my approach to the innermost cave starts when we come to know that he's like the looter. Okay. So now it starts with post interval where we see Sonakshi Sinha's character coughing. Her coughing has gotten worse. We see she's not doing well with her writing. She's struggling again with that. Uh, we see that a new police investigation is about to start. Basis.
This is post them having robbed her clean, right? And her father has
Yeah,
died.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, we a new police investigation is about to start. Basis her information, they change the location of the Ganpati Murti. Uh, the guest house thing happens. Turns out Ranveer and Vikrant come as guests back in her. Like they come and see that, and it ends at when the police chases them, and he's shot Vikrant. So like for me,
Mhm.
that was the whole approach to Inmost Cave. Now, ordeal is when he himself is shot and he has to take care of himself. So for me, the ordeal was very short. Like I put
Mm.
all of that in the prior phase, and he finally once again confronts Paki. That
Mm.
the moment he enters the house and he's like, "Tumne police
Yeah.
ko bola," all that. So I thought that was the ordeal, and the end of ordeal and reward is pretty much the same for me, where
Yeah.
Paki gets the justification that why did he betray them. So that's the
Mhm.
reward for the whole thing because so far she was just going mad in her head that why did it
Mhm.
like whatever. It's like she was anxious about it. Like why did it happen? What did it
Right.
happen? So for me, that was the reward for her journey.
That I can
Uh,
agree with you. Correct. Yeah.
yeah,
Not saving her
and
life, but yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
So the one reward moment for me was important that Pakhi gets that reward, which is
Correct.
that
Correct.
she gets the justification of why it happened to her, and which she says that I had like duty to fulfill to my uncle because he was the one who raised me, and you wouldn't understand because you brought up in these mentions. So,
Fair,
so yeah,
fair. That I agree. Paki's point of view. Yeah. Okay. That is our hero's journey. What should we go into next?
I have a little bit on the world. Shall we get that out of the way?
Yes. Yes.
So I think it's established much at the end of the credits of the film that this is adapted from O. Henry's short story, The Last Leaf. So, just shall I summarize the story for like, I don't know,
Sure.
quickly?
Yeah.
So, essentially, the second half of the film is what the movie is inspired from, which is that it's set in Greenwich Village in New York, back when it was like a poor artist settlement, not right now, how it's like the, the best hub right now. And this woman, she was diagnosed with pneumonia and she had made the belief that the the ivy creeper on the wall outside her window, until all the leaves fall, she's gonna keep her last breath. Until the last leaf falls, she's gonna do that.
Mm.
And there is a painter in her building who decides that who is not a good painter actually, much like Ranveer Singh's character. And but he decides one day he's gonna like make the best, most realistic art. So what he ends
Mm,
up doing is that he paints a leaf outside the wall, on her window, and she thinks that that's the leaf she's looking at. And
mm,
while painting that perfect leaf, he himself catches pneumonia and he ends up dying.
mm.
And because she gets the time to recover, she survives. So
Yeah.
essentially, this is what the second half of the current movie is also that, like in some form of way.
Yeah.
Now, what I like is that in the beginning of the movie, the father narrates a story to Paki, right? And he could have said very much the story as a part of that, right? For the audience to know that what is the story
Mm,
about. But the writers have very consciously chosen an Indian rooted story, which is of the Raja
mm,
of Beel and the soul and the parrot. And that's, I think, a good sign of an adaptation into the Indian context. Because,
mm,
you know, like it still keeps the essence of the story, which is inspired from, but it's got a new take, a new spin, and a more culturally relevant context. So I
yeah.
thought that was very good. And
Yeah.
it's that another thing that story in the beginning does is that it sets up a little bit whimsical nature of the story, that don't expect extreme realism in this film. This is a world which is importance is placed on stories which is intact with Sonakshi's character because she's a writer, and you know how writers can get ideas stuck in their head which can be their own doom. So I thought like it's set up very nicely. And again, this this comes up later on when Ranveer is trying to put sense into her head that उस आखिरी एक पत्ते से के साथ अपनी जिंदगी जोड़ के रखी है वो गलत है, वो तुम्हारा तोता नहीं है. So they related it
Mm,
back to the actual story which got inspired by it. So I thought
yeah.
this establishing of the world they did very nicely with this one story.
Yeah. Very well done. Okay, let's go into theme next.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, what is your theme? Your theme is the central question which you, as an artist, are posing to your audience because
Hmm.
you want to establish your view on the world. And by the final, by the result, by the goal of the film, whether the character achieves the goal, doesn't achieve the goal, or whatever happens to your character, you will decide whether that statement has a true or false answer. What does that mean? So, in this film, the theme is essentially, can love turn a bad man good? Because why? Ranveer Singh is a robber. He is untrustworthy, right? So, they're asking that if he falls in love, can he stop being a robber? Can he actually be
Hmm.
good? Right? And that is the question they have kept in mind at every important turning point of the film. So, for
Hmm.
example, when he falls in love and he asks for her hand in marriage, he is willing to give up robbing as a life choice. But he is put into a pickle where they say that if you give up robbery, I'll tell her that you used to be a robber. So then you still kind of lose it. So he has no choice but to continue being a robber. But then, here's what I really want to bring up in sense of the importance of subplots. Because we
Hmm.
have the Vikrant Masi subplot, where Vikrant Masi is his sidekick through the film. They have a great relationship, they have a solid friendship. And accidentally, in the shootout,
Hmm.
Ranveer Singh kills his own best friend. And
Hmm.
he realizes that as long as he is bad, he can't have love in his life
Hmm.
by killing Vikrant Masi. So that's what motivates him to go back to Sonakshi Sinha and say that,
Hmm.
fuck, like that's what makes him choose being good over bad. That's what makes him choose taking care of her because he
Hmm.
realizes that he can either be a robber or he can have love. So, yes,
Hmm.
love can turn a bad man good. And that
Hmm.
question is answered by Ranveer Singh's actions in the film by using not
Hmm.
just the A plot, but also the B plot, the subplot tying
Hmm.
into it.
Yeah, very nicely thought. Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to go into scenes next?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. One sequence I want to talk about is that the first time their friends call them out about that, oh, you're developing feelings for the other person, which I spoke about in the call to action and refusal to call me. That, and what they have done is essentially they're the same conversation, right? Like Sonakshi Sinha is having with her friend and Ranveer is having with his friend. It could have been boring where you show one scene and then you show another scene after that, where the information is exactly the same. So what the
Hmm.
writers very smartly do is that they find proper cut points and intercut both of these scenes so that you understand that these two characters are on the same page. Like, I've noted down the exact lines, and I think this might make more sense for viewers. That um, Sonakshi Sinha's friend first tells her, "पागल हो गई हो तुम," and she says, "मैं तो ऐसे ही देख रही थी." We cut back to Ranveer and Vikrant, and Vikrant says, "तुम कैसे देख रहे थे? मुझे भी दिख रहा है." And he's like, "कैसे देख रहा था?" We cut back to Sonakshi in this one. She says,
Hmm.
"वैसे ही देखा जाता है जब वो हो जाता है." And this one, Sonakshi gets angry. She's like, "क्या हो जाता है?
Hmm.
तुम भूख के मारे तुम्हारा दिमाग खराब हो चुका है." And
Hmm.
Vikrant, again, now we cut to Vikrant, and he says that, "यार तुम गुस्सा क्यों हो रहे हो? तुम जो ख्याली पुलाव पका रहे हो, मैं तो उसमें दम भर रहा हूँ." And we cut back to Sonakshi saying कि मैं
Yeah.
कुछ नहीं पका रही हूँ. So it's essentially a scene between two characters, but which four characters are having, but it's been
Yeah.
crunched into back into this one scene. And you see this happening a lot in, say, investigation scenes of where you have two witnesses uh, talking about the same incident, but two different police officers are investigating them. And hopefully by the end of it, one of them would have fumbled and one of them would have not. So, that's one of the
Yeah.
things like happens in that kind of film. But I think like this is a cool way to like crunch information, but also keep the pace going for the movie.
Yes. Very cool. Very cool. And on that note, even I'll
Hmm.
talk about how they've been economic and
Yeah.
done more than one thing with one scene.
Hmm.
So there's plenty of examples of that in this film. The first
Hmm.
I want to talk about is at the very top of the film. Sonakshi Sinha and her parents had a Ram Leela performance and she gets a coughing fit. So they have to
Hmm.
take her back to the Haveli. So
Hmm.
what do? Is there's a long walk from within the Haveli itself to get her
Hmm.
to her bedroom. And what this does is two things. One, it gives the audience information of their standing, of ghar
Hmm.
kitna bada hai. Because as zamindars, you have to visually
Hmm.
show us. But they don't spend an
Hmm.
independent scene visually showing you ki itni zameen hai. No. They take Sonakshi Sinha's character through the winding, big like corridors of the Haveli. And what that also does, other than giving you information, is it creates tension because you're
Hmm.
like, oh my god, what's going to happen? Abish is going to get sick. What's going to happen? Is she going to faint? Blah, blah, blah. So this film does this one sequencing moment very well of do things
Hmm.
at once. Then you have a moment where Sonakshi Sinha, Ranveer Singh, and the father are in the library, and Sonakshi Sinha is reciting poetry. And Ranveer
Hmm.
Singh knows the same poem. So he
Yeah.
completes, he joins Sonakshi Sinha in it and completes it. Now, this does two things again. One, it builds connection between Sonakshi Sinha and Ranveer Singh's character. But it also impresses the father and says, ki, why don't you stay at our house instead of staying separately outside? So not only does this build the relationship, it takes the story forward. It's an essential plot point, right?
Yeah.
And the third is, you had spoken about this in Kahani, where Vidya Balan was walking and over the VO information was given, but we are seeing her
Hmm.
reaction as she's walking at the platform. Over here also, in the VO, you have her dad saying that, look, Ranveer Singh is going to be coming home for dinner. But
Hmm.
Sonakshi Sinha is getting dressed. So you
Yeah.
see that they have given us the information and shown us the character's reaction and preparation for it. We establish
Yeah.
character and information again. So, one more moment doing two things at once. Next, I wanted to talk about a couple of scenes where we talk
Hmm.
about perspective, right?
Hmm.
So, if you've noticed in this film, when Ranveer Singh's character is introduced, Pakhi is driving, she's driving haphazardly, she knocks a bike over. She looks over out of the window. And from her perspective, it's a perspective shot where we see Ranveer Singh fallen. Then even when he comes to the house to say that I want to excavate your land, we don't see him enter the house. We see Pakhi looking at him entering the house.
Hmm.
When he comes for dinner, again, we see Pakhi looking at him from the top of the stairs.
Hmm.
So the reason we do this is because we want to see what Pakhi sees so that
Hmm.
we feel what Pakhi feels. They want
Hmm.
the audience to feel the same emotion that the character feels. So even if I
Hmm.
were writing this in the script, I won't say that Ranveer Singh comes. I'd say that
Hmm.
Sonakshi Sinha sees
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
important for generating empathy. It's not about creating any emotion in your audience. You have to create emotion that you want within the character that you want your audience to root for.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's what they are feeling, the same feeling the audience has to feel. So
To
I
feel.
think, yeah, yeah, done very smartly for sure.
Then I want to talk about contradictions
Hmm.
and as a technique. Because contradictions work very well as a technique because you take your audience to a particular high and then you
Hmm.
drop them. Your films are essentially an emotional experience that on an emotional journey. One emotion can't be sustained for too long because it's boring. You're going to lose your audiences, right? So, this one contradiction I'm going to talk about is in a grander scheme of things, not within just the theme. But
Hmm.
Ranveer Singh's introduction,
Hmm.
it is as an absolute bichara. When Pakhi
Hmm.
turns, we see this guy sitting in the
Hmm.
sand, on the ground, like all of that. Now, why do they have to introduce him as a bichara? So that later, when the so-called twist of him being Lootera, which is the name of the film, comes in, it lands that
Yeah.
okay, they set him up as innocent, but he's actually a scheming robber, right?
Hmm.
They've also used this technique very well with Pakhi when you never see her get angry. Even
Hmm.
when the zamindars, when she's told that, all this land is going to go away, she asks, Acha, ye bagicha bhi leke jayenge. And then
Hmm.
he's like, ha, she doesn't lose it, she doesn't get angry. So when Ranveer Singh says that I'm not coming back, she's like, tum jaake mar kyun nahi jate? That
Hmm.
anger really lands. And it lands
Hmm.
why? Because of contradiction.
Hmm.
Because she never really gets angry, even at things she
Hmm.
can get angry about,
Hmm.
and then she gets angry here. And they do
Hmm.
this yet the time where Ranveer Singh's character is essentially very laconic through the film. He doesn't talk
Hmm.
too much.
Hmm.
But at the resurrection, when he finally confesses that I love you, it is in fact a spiel. That's the most number of
Hmm.
words we've heard him say at one point in the film.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
monologue. So again, why does it work? Because they've set up the opposite initially. So
Yeah.
contradictions give your characters, give your audiences a sense of a journey. Okay, next I want to talk about the audience having information before the character does. And in my opinion, this whole film was a big example of the audience having information before the character
Only
does.
because you saw it previously.
No,
Only
because the
because.
name is Lootera. But anyway, why does that work really well where the audience has information and the character doesn't? Is because it creates tension. Your audience is
Yeah.
constantly wondering what impact is this going to have on my character? How are they going to react? That. So over here, one they've done it even in the little moments where
Yeah.
at one point, that Sonakshi Sinha's father's character is essentially like a zamindar who's like, there's no zamindari abolishment act ever going to be passed. Like, mark my
Yeah.
words. And
Yeah.
then then you have a shot of the newspaper being delivered to him, but the
Hmm.
audience sees just a glimpse of the newspaper first. But it's enough to know that the Zamindari Abolishment Act has come into power. And
Hmm.
immediately you're like, fuck, what will his reaction be? It creates
Hmm.
tension. Just a little moment like that.
I want to talk about another way of building tension, which is my favorite screenwriting technique, which is intercutting.
Yeah.
So this is the pre-interval point where you come to know that Ranveer Singh's character is a Lutera. And we,
But
for
the
the
title
longest
wasn't
time,
enough. Hmm.
title wasn't enough. ठीक है? So, so what they do is, in general, intercutting between two tracks is great anyway. Here, what they have done is they've put it in three tracks, which is that first you see that we follow Ranveer and Vikrant leaving. We see like the night before, like they're like They're telling their workers that dig faster. Uh, we still don't know what's happening. The second track is Paki getting ready for the wedding. She thinks she's getting married today. So you have like her excitement. Anyway, two contrasting scenes. Now, the number three is her father discovering that the murti in the temple is actually fake. And you realize that's what Ranveer and Vikrant took. So the fact that
Correct.
you have these three contrasting moments, one is the robber, one is the person waiting for the robber in the hope that she's getting married to him, and the third is finding out who the robber is. These three moments create this almost this pyramid of uh, one after the other building tension moment. And I thought it was done extremely well because of the device of intercutting.
Another moment of tension I want to talk about where they really elongate it is by delaying the solution, even if the
Hmm.
solution is inevitable. So
Hmm.
when Sonakshi Sinha's character starts coughing after they didn't kiss and they're driving back home from the lake, she starts coughing. Ranveer Singh at first doesn't pay heed. He's like, okay, it's just coughing, whatever. But you as an audience know that this is
No.
going to be something worse than before.
Hmm.
Then there's a flat tire. So he pulls over. Again, you're like, oh my God, what's going to be happening to her? What's going to be happening to her? And Ranveer Singh changes the tire, he comes back in, and then he says, oh my God, she's gasping for breath. So
Hmm.
he fishes for her medicine. But at that point, even then, he doesn't open the medicine box immediately. It's like,
Hmm.
oh my God, this, and she helps him out, and then he injects her.
Hmm.
So that is like, as an audience, you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Again, creating as many obstacles as you can in your
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
works very well as a technique to create tension before the inevitable solution. Like at no point do you think, "Acha, ये मर जाने वाली hai." No, that's not your
Yeah.
film, but you still are
Yeah.
tensed.
Yeah. I think it's similar to your opening Munna Bhai sequence where you said that why make it easy when you make it when you can make it hard.
Make it hard.
Like
Yeah,
like the immediate were like, oh, she's coughing, the injection is in the back seat, get me and do this. But
yeah,
take the long wave to that, like so that
yeah.
there is instant tension and like uh you're making the audience wait for that big moment.
Exactly.
I want to talk about one callback moment. Um Callbacks as we've established in the previous episodes, is a piece of dialogue, a moment where which takes place between two characters, and you realize either the nature of the relationship has changed or not changed at all. So I want to use. I think they've done this with the device of the radio. Is that when she sees for the first time that Ranveer Singh and Vikrant are playing songs on the radio, and she also turns the radio on in her room, and it's like a very cute moment between the two of them, and that the moment is of happiness, right? And much later on in the film is that uh, the radio comes back, and this time it triggers anger because this is the same song playing on the radio, and it immediately reminds her of him. And this is becomes actually her trigger point to go and complain to the police officer and telling them that
Mm.
this is the information he gave me. So I thought they used that moment really well, and it and the nature of the relationship has changed. So I thought that was a good callback.
Very good callback. Like they have really not wasted moments. Every
Yeah.
moment is so thoughtfully crafted in this film.
Yeah, yeah.
It's beautifully done. Then I want to talk about structuring scenes within a sequence
Hmm,
and or when to give information within a scene because that is very important because it does many things for your character. So let's
hmm,
talk about the scene where we see Ranveer Singh having
hmm,
attaching the leaf upper to the tree.
hmm,
Okay, and you realize that he's not just been attaching the leaf. He's not doing it just today. He's been attaching the leaf to keep Paki alive for a while. And why do they show it to you as almost the second last scene of the film? Because
hmm,
in the next scene, he is going to die. So you
hmm,
want your audience to be at maximum empathy for him so that when
hmm,
he dies, a part of you dies too.
hmm,
That's why they don't show us earlier on that, acha, he's been doing this. They choose this moment, they structure it so that it's maximum
hmm.
empathy, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also
It's only
speaking of that
teased.
scene,
It's also
Mhm.
teased a little bit, right? Like you see him like he takes out his painting apparatus, and
Yeah.
the next thing you see he's like wet and he's cold, but have no idea what he's done. So
Hmm.
it's also done very well. Yeah.
Very well. Yeah. They've breadcrumbed it, but they've breadcrumbed
Yeah.
it just the right amount. Very
Right
thoughtful
amount.
again.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah.
thoughtful. Yeah. Then the same scene where Ranveer Singh is attaching the last leaf. They haven't even made that easy for him.
Easy.
He
Yeah.
climbs up the tree, and just as he's going to attach it, the leaf flies away. He has to catch it.
Yeah.
He falls. He's hanging off a branch. His wound opens up. Then, with that
Yeah.
wound, he's bleeding. He still climbs back up. He attaches it. And as he's coming down, the branch breaks from under him. He falls again.
Yeah.
Why do they do this? Because it's not just why make it easy when you can make it hard. It's because you want to see a character go to any length to do something,
Yeah.
because that's what makes you like the character. And this again ties in with the idea that they're going to kill him next scene. So you
Hmm.
want to feel so much for him that they had to
Hmm.
make this difficult. Look at the extent to which he's going. So
Hmm.
always think about how can you build maximum empathy for your character before something bad is going to happen to them. Make it
Yeah.
difficult for them. Make them do really good things for other people. Then I want to talk about an impossible situation, creating
Hmm.
impossible situations for your character. Over
Hmm.
here, what they do is they have Ranveer Singh's character fall in love with Paki and then decide to give up his life as a robber. But
Hmm.
then his boss says, if you give up your life as a robber, I will tell her that you're a robber. So then you can't have
Hmm.
Paki anyway. So he's in an impossible situation. And
Hmm.
what I think as writers, what we need to do is create a lot more important situations, impossible situations, not just for your characters, because for yourself. Because when you have to write yourself out of a box, you are going to think of something very unique. It's not going to
Hmm.
be, acha, what happens next? You're going to think of,
Hmm.
what can I do that's different to take the
Hmm.
story forward? So the
Yeah.
more constraints you give, the more you will understand, more unique your story will be. So this
Yeah.
situation was very well crafted from that point of view.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then another thing I wanted to talk about was rooting a twist in logic. So we
Hmm.
see Ranveer with a canvas which is empty. And his friend
Hmm.
keeps saying, you keep staring at that canvas, and but you've
Hmm.
never done anything. And he's like, one day I'll
Hmm.
paint a masterpiece. So you
Hmm.
think that Acha, he's just an artist with a self-doubt complex, etc. Can't get started, yay wo. And then in the painting scene with Sonakshi, where he's asked to teach her to paint, you realize that, oh, the twist is he doesn't know how to paint at all.
Yeah.
But it lands because when you think back to that painting scene, you're just like, Acha, he just had like an empty dream. Canvas लगा
Yeah.
के बैठ दिया था, like, you know.
Yeah.
So that only lands because it's rooted in logic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Again, a moment like this only lands for me in the movie because you've established the whimsical nature of this film, right? Like if it was like a regular character saying, I want to paint one day, I'd be like, please shut up, man. You know, like please do your work. Right? Like he has a canvas, he has a full set of like colors, but like, like it can feel so extraneous in a in a different film, right? Like but because
Yeah.
they'd established this movie is like that. It's poetic, it's beautiful, and it's like characters do think like this. So I think like it lands more also
Yeah.
because of that. For me at least, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. That is all I have on scenes.
Okay, great. Should we do character creation?
Yeah, let's do character creation.
I think what the biggest trait they have used to make us like Paki so much is that she is mischievous. Uh,
Mm.
and she's mischievous without the intent to have malice. Like she's not being mischievous to be an asshole. She
Mm.
is just having fun in her life, and she fully owns it. Like she's also blatantly honest about her mischievousness. So when we see her driving this car very badly, and she immediately says, "If everything goes well, I was driving, but if like there's an accident, it's you who are driving." So we like a brutally honest character about their mischievousness.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is that she does get into an accident. And she also, like, when Ranveer comes to her house and says, and she comes to know this is the guy who I had actually bumped my car into, she immediately tells him, listen, don't tell anybody, you know? And so again, she's a little bit bully and a mischievous there, but again, not with the intent to be any malice, create
Hmm.
any malice. But in the moment when it happens the other way with Ranveer, that, he's teasing her a little bit, like he thinks, oh, I got hit by a car. I don't know who was, some new, koi nausikhiya gaadi chala raha tha. And again, we bring in mischievousness because she accidentally pours coffee on him. So I thought,
Accidentally.
like,
Yeah.
she makes it seem like an accident, but like deliberately
Hmm.
she does it. So I thought, like, that the layer of mischief in her character was a great tool to build empathy for her, for us to like her, and just a good way to draw us into her character.
Definitely. Yeah. And I also think one more trait of hers is very important, is that while she is extremely naive as a
Hmm.
character, extremely
Hmm.
innocent, she's not entitled
Hmm.
at all.
Hmm.
So even though she's so rich, when they're like, when the Zamindari Act, Abolishment Act comes into play, she's not like, oh my god, everything is going to go away from me, ye wo. Bilkul nahi. She's like, acha,
Hmm.
okay. And
Hmm.
two, even when everything goes to shit, like her father dies, she's alone, she's dying, we never see her feeling like bad for herself. She's just like,
Yeah.
okay, let death come to me. It's fine.
Yeah. I just
So
want to forget him. That's her first dance with him. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. She's never like, oh my God, woe
Seeking
is me.
revenge. Yeah.
Or revenge. Yeah. So
Yeah.
because of that, I think we've also created a character who we really um like. Right?
Yeah.
Then I have one more note on character, which also segs into dialogue. So I'm gonna do
Hmm.
both of them together. Uh the thing is, I want to talk about status, which we also touched on in fashion.
Hmm.
Status is a character knowing their sense of power and place in the world. Over
Hmm.
here, we have the character of the Zamindar, which is the father. And in the start of the film, they're watching the Ram Leela, and his accountant is telling him, they're going to come and they're going to take all your land away. And he's like, no, that won't happen. And then he's like, no, they're really going to come. He doubles down. And instead of the Zamindar character doubling down, be like, nahi, wo meri zameen lene nahi aayenge, he turns his attention, watches the play, and laughs.
Hmm.
This is a character who knows his standing in the world, or he thinks he knows it. Status is like
Yeah.
perceived, right? So
Yeah.
he's like, I am untouchable, and his reaction comes from that I am untouchable. And going into dialogue, in
Hmm.
dialogue also, they could have had a scene where he says that, no, I'm going to like make sure this doesn't happen, blah, blah, blah. But they chose it. They chose to do it with this reaction that he just turns and
Hmm.
starts watching the Ram Leela. So
Hmm.
dialogue comes from status here, or the lack of
Hmm.
dialogue comes from status here,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And another moment I noticed this lack of dialogue was, like you said, where Sonakshi says that when I'm driving badly, accident hua, then it's on you, to the driver. If it
Hmm.
all goes well, it's for me. And this is when she's crashed into Ranveer Singh's character, and she's now leaving the hospital or police station or wherever she was. And
Hmm.
the driver's waiting outside. And she's like, she reprimands him. She's like, this is all your fault. And he's like, my fault? Like, yeah, you were driving. And instead of fighting back and her going, oh, listen to me, nahi to tumhari naukri chali jayegi na, the driver looks down at his uniform and he's like, and immediately he's thinking, if I disagree, meri naukri chali jayegi. But that one
Right.
look.
Yeah. Hmm.
And the scene ends there. He's like, okay, cool.
Hmm.
I was driving. And instead of turning things into an argument, I think the lack of dialogue makes for very good dialogue here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always like brevity is the soul of wit, right? Like, keep your dialogues as short as you can. It delivers more.
For
For
sure.
sure.
Okay, then do you want to go into genre tropes?
Yeah. I have one genre trope, which is the meet cute. Right? Like, so in a romance movie, what is a meet cute? It's when the main couple have a meeting and it gives you a moment which is either impactful and you are left that there's a spark, there's a moment of chemistry, it's just cute or some sort of a physical element comes undone here, Like, so I want to quote a few examples here, like when in Band Baja Barat, they have like the whole uh, scuffle over the wedding plate, the meal plate, and the like, oh, you keep this plate aside. I'm here, I'm not here. So that was like very cool. Similarly, with like a few other examples, say like and this is a movie which we've not done yet, Hum Tum, is that whenever they do meet, like somebody breaks a beverage tray or something. So there's somebody sometimes a chai falls, a coffee falls, something or the other happens. And I thought, which was interesting here, the first time they meet, they have an accident. And the second time they do meet opposite each other, is that he is playing this thing that, oh, somebody banged their car into me, and she drops the coffee a little bit. So these are very nice, sweet, cute moments which essentially lend itself into the romance genre. And as somebody who's done coffee spilling in their life for meet cute enough, I
Yeah,
approve this.
absolutely. For sure. And the reason it works is it's just not a genre like trope because it happens everywhere. It's because it creates conflict. And
Yeah,
conflict is what creates range. If your characters start with loving each other, then there's
yeah,
nowhere for them to go. There's no movie. So they have to start
yeah,
off, they have to meet on the wrong foot for them to eventually like each other. You need
yeah,
range,
yeah.
right? Another genre trope I have here is similar interests, where they
Hmm,
have poetry and painting as a similar interest.
hmm,
Even though he
hmm,
doesn't paint, he's interested in painting, and Park he can paint. This happens in
hmm,
many films where characters have similar interests because of two reasons. One, it gives them an instant point of connection,
hmm,
and B, it creates a playground for them. Means
hmm,
essentially, now they've used painting as a device for them to
hmm,
keep meeting. So shared
hmm,
interest gives them a reason to keep coming together.
hmm,
Then, speaking of shared interest, the next trope we always see in rom-coms is let me teach you how to do something.
hmm.
Right? Like it's like, oh, I'll teach you how to play snooker because then my hands come around you, or bowling because
Yeah,
then my hand comes
yeah,
behind you, right? Over
yeah.
here also, they've done it very well with the painting. So at
Hmm,
first, they're standing close together and they're painting. Then she holds his hand, and she holds the
yeah.
pencil which he's
Hmm,
drawing with. Then, when it's the paintbrush, she holds his hand. So this
hmm,
essentially creates touch and closeness, touch which the characters want, but they're still too awkward to ask for. But you have to give to
hmm.
your audience. So,
Yeah,
because your audience is watching a rom com for this. So, this is how you create it by these situations of let me teach you. Right?
yeah.
Then I want to talk about longing versus stiffness as a genre trope. So,
Hmm,
before the painting sequence, there is longing in both of them, right? As we said, both the
hmm,
friends are they're both looking at each other, there's stolen glances and stuff. So you're like, oh my God, when they finally have time together, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
yeah.
And then they get into that painting room and they're both so stiff. They're like, I
Hmm,
don't know how to behave. I don't know how to behave. It
yeah,
is
yeah.
essential to do this in a rom com because, again, if they hit it off right off the bat, you're bored. You need to
Hmm,
build up to that. Again, delayed
hmm,
gratification. But in a rom com, you first create the anticipation that, yes, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Then it doesn't happen. Then you build
yeah,
it up to it.
yeah.
Right? Then another one you have is completing each other's sentences.
Hmm,
So she's like, मैं डलहौजी जाके बस लिखूंगी लिखूंगी लिखूंगी, and then she starts saying something again, and he completes it, लिखूंगी लिखूंगी लिखूंगी. And
yeah.
why does this work so much? Because what is romance essentially? It is the coming together of two people, and they put this in
Hmm,
as a trope was for you to see that now they're on the same wavelength, they're sharing the same
hmm,
brain, they're coming together. So it's an
hmm,
essential trope to have. And the last trope I want to talk about is fantasy versus reality. And you
hmm,
see that with Paki here, where she is longing for him. She's daydreaming about him, even though he has robbed her. And then you come back to
hmm,
reality. He is nowhere in her vicinity. So it shows
hmm,
the difference in what she wants and where she actually is, which creates longing, which creates yearning, which is an essential emotion in rom-coms. So you want your characters
hmm,
to yearn. And again, a
hmm.
genre is essential. Oh, and then wait, I have two more.
Hmm.
We have denial to friends, like we discussed, where they're both telling their friend, no, 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 we are not in love. Why does this work? Because it taps into something very human, which we as humans do.
Hmm.
Where any your friend and say, oh, you like him, you're like, no, 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 no. We
Yeah.
protect us from vulnerability, which is a very
Hmm.
human. And movies
Hmm.
are essentially humanity on steroids.
Hmm.
And before the character and
Wow.
before the characters actually commit to liking each other, they have to be like, no, they have to be
Hmm.
scared, because that is the
Hmm.
reality of the situation. And again, it gives you range, goes from no,
Hmm.
no to yes, yes, so deeply yes that I can't live without you know
Hmm. Hmm.
and the last one is stolen glances,
Hmm.
where we have Sonakshi looking at Ranveer is not looking at her. Then he turns to look at her, she is looked away. The stolen glances
Hmm.
when people are angry especially works, because again it creates longing. They're like, oh, he has the same
Hmm.
feelings for you. If only you'd look like 2 seconds ago. 2 seconds ago. For the audience, it creates that are yaar wala feeling. So
Hmm.
again, another genre trope that really works.
Hmm. Like they almost miss each other a little bit. Like, only if
Yeah.
like 2 seconds earlier, like you said, देख लेते तो बात बन जाती
Hmm.
जल्दी. Hmm.
Boy. Boy. Next thing I want to talk about is the tone of the film.
Hmm.
Um, this film is a very restrained film in its tone.
Hmm.
While it's whimsical, it is not loud in any way.
Hmm.
And they have ensured that all other scenes are also not loud, even the ones that would ideally be loud. So when you
Hmm.
have the action sequence where Ranveer is being chased by the police, a lot of
Hmm.
it is hide and at
Hmm.
max you have gunshots, but you don't have much screaming and shouting. That's not
Right.
within the tone of the film, because the tone is mellow,
Hmm.
it's sober. Then crying. You have Sonakshi Sinha like crying to herself, but never do you see her wailing.
Hmm.
At no point is she like, chhati peet ke like after her dad's
Hmm.
death, nothing. We don't see that. Even when her engagement is broken off with Ranveer Singh, it is her
Hmm.
coming down the stairs looking at her dad. Cut to
Hmm.
them searching the Haveli. We
Hmm.
never get into theatrics, which is this
Hmm.
something film, there's no melodrama. So even the scenes
Yeah.
which could have melodrama, they have chosen not to go that route.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very subtle take on these moments.
Very.
Yeah.
That is all I have on Lutera.
Yeah. Me too.
Cool. Well, thank you everyone for watching this episode of the Breakdown Besties podcast with us. We hope it was really helpful. Please, please, please go back and watch Lootera. We had so much fun watching it. It is such a good film. Like, I think it's the best one we've done so far. I'm
Yeah.
so happy we've done this. And
Yeah.
yeah, you know the drill. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, leave us comments, ask us questions. We like feeling needed. We like feeling important. So, yeah, see you
And
next
give us
Thursday.
suggestions. Give us suggestions of which movie should we
Yes,
break down.
exactly. There might be a bit of a lag time because we banked a bunch of episodes, but we will do it.
We'll get there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cool. See ya.
Hi again, bestie. For our next episode, we are breaking down the film Barfi. Yeah, so watch the movie before our breakdown, before it comes out on the next Thursday, and see you.